scholarship for CDL drivers. So it costs about $4,500 if you can't get through one of the grant programs. Between the ages of 18 and 24, those programs will pay for you to go to school. It is one of the only 5-star rated schools in the Carolinas, definitely in the Charlotte area. The Charlotte, North Carolina office is at a 100% pass.
Roscoe Meeks. Roscoe, how you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be on your show.
Well, man, I'm glad to have you. I want to just give the people an opportunity to know who you are and what some of the things you're doing, how you're impacting not only the people in the church community on so many different levels. You've been touching and impacting so many lives. So I want to make sure that you get an opportunity to share abroad and let people know what that is. So if you can, just introduce who you are.
Okay, so I'm Minister Roscoe Meeks. I serve at the Well Church here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. My pastor is Maurice Revelle and Pastor Katita Revelle. I serve on different boards and different areas in the church. I am the leader of the Men's Connect Group. The Men's Connect Group is doing a lot of different things with men. We're looking to mentor some teenagers in this upcoming year. We're also going to be doing, we're going to have a Boys Connect group. We invented a Boys Connect group so the men would identify who that they wanted to mentor. Also, I'm in the campus committee, with the leader of the campus committee, which is a committee set up to help our college students. Like, we feed them every now and then, have events with them, go out, show them some things in Rock Hill, South Carolina that they might not be aware of. Help them with their spiritual learning and things like that. Also, me and my wife, who just like really eloquently introduce you, we are host and co-host of the couples ministry. So the couples ministry, same thing. We're just bringing couples together, doing a whole lot of events, social events, making us closer. We are a tight-knit group. And a group that where we can be honest with each other, talk about our problems and maybe solve some things. Miss Loney and his wife is in the group as well. That's the things at the church. You know, it might be some other things I missed, but I'm also a member of the Fellows group. I'm the chaplain for the Fellows organization here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. The Fellows was a social club that we created in high school. All of us went to Northwestern High School. And we started a social club there. I believe I know it started in 1985. So that class, it was the tantalizing 25 of 85.
Okay.
So we used to throw parties and get-togethers and things like that when we were in high school. And we had a treasurer and all that good stuff, a treasurer, vice president, president. And we would save all the funding. So at the end of the year, all of us could take a trip to the beach on the Fellows Club. Okay. So as we got older, a few of the guys got back together, and they said, let's do something for the community. We've all, come back and been pretty decently successful. And so we put the organization back together, and now we throw parties to give out scholarships to young men in high school to help them go to college with their books and things of that nature. We also mentor young men at Northwestern High School, and we've also started a mentorship program at Ross and Roll Middle School. And we have a junior fellows organization also started with some young men at Northwestern right now. So we're doing a lot of great things.
Man, that's amazing, man. I know the list goes on. You got a few other things you got going on.
Yeah.
That's just in the serving the community, but also as far as your employment, you do some things in that area. So it's going to be, once you touch briefly on what that looks like.
Okay, so I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for a CL Driving School, which is a CDL school. And that has really turned into a ministry. because it's a lot of people that have made mistakes early in their life as far as their criminal background and things of that nature. Whereas if we can get them into class and get them a CDL, we can help them move forward and have a great career and restart their life, rekindle things, keep the fire burning. Also, people just looking for a future. We do a lot of career fairs at high schools and things like that. And we have a lot of different organizations where we get grants to help them come through our organization, and they don't have to fund it on their own.
That's amazing. So we're going to try to unpack a lot of this, what you got going on, which is amazing things that's been a help to so many in our community. But let's start back. What led you to what was your beginning like? I know you said back in school, y'all was a part of fellas and things like that, but what was your entry into really starting to serve your community to the passage where, hey, it's not just about me having fun, me doing things like that, but what's something to start from?
I have to say that happened. It was a long time after high school. Funny enough, I was kind of interested in politics when I was a little bit younger. I ran for student body vice president. I won, actually. But the serving thing came about more so when I got out of high school. I was probably in my 30s, and I realized I had a calling on my life to be a minister. And of course, I ran from that calling for a long time because I didn't want to stop doing the things I was doing. And just to be honest. And I ended up coming upon this church in Mineral Springs, North Carolina, which I was living in Monroe at the time. I came across this pastor, God rest her soul, she's deceased now, Reverend Sharian Carr, and we talked about some things as far as my calling and things like that, and I ended up doing my initial sermon and going to school and things like that and getting involved in ministry. As I got involved in ministry, I kept taking up other ministries to try to, direct me in the right path. So I started helping out in the community a lot.
Okay. Now, when these people say ministry, a minister, kind of help us to understand what does that mean to you?
Minister, I believe everybody is a minister. I believe you're a minister. Ministry is basically helping people. I had a guy tell me, a supervisor, a manager of mine, when I was working at UPS, he said, you carry the title of supervisor, but a supervisor is no more than a person that serves. He makes sure that the person who's doing all the work has all of the tools he needs to be successful. So that's why I think a minister is.
Definition of ministry is a servant. So definitely, like I say, your work that you do is your ministry. So it's not someone who's behind the pulpit and the one who's preaching. Right. So that may be a function that they do, but even the work that you say, the best ministry is the one that you do without speaking, that you can do through letting your light shine, letting others see you serve. And so that's want to make sure we're clear about what a ministry really is. But with that, now that you had the call and you've now stepped into that area, and I know your heart is really it's the whole community, but if you had to narrow it in, where is your focus on particular areas of ministry? I don't want to say if I want you to be able to speak clearly in that direction. I want to kind of share. So what is really your heart of, you said, that area that needs near and dear?
I think my real calling, I just really discovered it probably in the last couple of years, is young men. Young teenage men coming up in the area. We live in a world right now where there's so much violence and chaos and things unheard of going on. And you have a lot of young men that are being misguided. They are getting all kind of religions thrown at them with all these different beliefs. They have gangs and violence and, different substances and that they're taking, and it's just leading our young men astray. And I believe if you read the Bible, the first thing that went wrong with the earth is that when Adam, not only did he let Eve bite the apple, he bit the apple too. And he was supposed to be her covering. You know, the Bible says that the man is the covering over the woman, and Jesus is the covering over man. So if that man aligns himself with Jesus, then his whole family can be aligned, and they all be on a kingdom path. So if the devil attacks us, they're going to attack our young men before they can get into a position where they can lead their families. Then they won't know how to lead their families, and they can't lead their families. And that's where our breakdown is at.
You said something that's key. It's a book by Napoleon Hill, Outwit the Devil. If you have not read that book, it's a powerful, powerful book. I recommend checking it out. But he talks about that. And one of the things he was speaking on was one of the devil's best tools is catching our children before they come of age to think for themselves. And so that, I mean, the devil doesn't have any rights or wrong. He catches you right after birth. So, so we have to be in that position to catch our youth at a young age and raise them up in the way they should go. So I totally agree, because it reminds me when I really got started into serving in the community was because I seen some things that was near and dear to my heart, because I seen kids get in the games. And this was back in 98, 99. And I seen a young lady, she got killed by a police officer when she was trying to rob a store. I don't know if you remember that situation, but she came out of the ministry I was part of, and she had some mental situations going on. But that just stirred the pot for me to make me realize it's more that I need to be a part of the answer versus saying somebody else.
Right.
So my thing was not trying to go out there and find myself to do my own mentoring program, but to connect with things that was already going on. So that's how I got involved, by find out who's doing what and getting involved there, and then open up the other doors open over time. But then we were able to start certain mentoring programs, but it just tugged at your heart of that area that was near and dear. And I say that because everybody wants to, say I'm in ministry, meaning that you want to be over here, over there, everywhere, but you have to have an avatar. You have to have an aim, a focus in order to be a result I'm looking for. And so with that, this kind of tie in now, let's go over here back to the well. We both fellowship together, and you're over our men's connect group as well as working in the college. How is that we're focusing to impact in this season? What's some of the things you already have in place and you're working towards to help in those outreaches?
Well, first thing is that the Men's Connect group, we put it together, and it's been together about 2 years now.
Okay.
So the first year, as you know, we were going through COVID and things like that, and we did a lot of online meetings. Okay. So this past year, we did a lot of gatherings, meeting, and the group got really strong. We kind of created a bond, a brotherhood of about 30 or so brothers that like to get together on that third Thursday at the well. And that afternoon and night, we usually start the session about 7 and just talk. And it's basically just men talking about the issues they have and the problems they have going on. It might be something in family life. It might be things about the teenagers going on in things going on in the community, stuff like that. Well, towards the end of last year, we started saying, well, we need some spiritual training because we're talking about things, but we're not really doing anything about it. And then Pastor Maurice Ravel, he got together and he started the program where we went out and fed the high school football teams. I believe we fed Northwestern first, and then we did all the away games for South Point. And that way, not only do we get to feed them, we get to fellowship with those young men, and it's kind of like a mentorship, somewhat starting point. So he put that into place, and then the men in our last meeting, we said, well, okay, it's time to go do something about this thing. So the first thing we decided to do was put together a Boys Connect group where the teenagers can come and talk like the men did all last year, and just what are the problems and situations that we are going through as young men that only maybe they can understand at this point in their life. Me and you might be a little bit too old to understand. You know what I'm saying? Or to put into the perspective with them. So that's the first thing we did. We did the Boys Connect group. We're still feeding the football teams. And we're going to put together some programs where we're going to have teenagers come out. We might have some Xbox games for them to play and stuff like that. And we're just going to talk to them, see where their head's at, and try to mentor them and see if we can get them on the right path. And that way, if they can see men leading, then they'll know how to lead when they get in their households. One great thing I think my pastor always says when he's talking to guys or boys or men, that a lot of men or a lot of boys, young boys, they don't see men in control. They don't see men in power. A lot of things, they go to school, most of the school teachers are females. Most of the people you see in church are females in leadership roles and things like that. So they don't get a chance to see that, hey, you're a male and you can lead, and you were built to lead. The Bible says that you are the head of the house. And since you're built to lead, they need to know how to take their role in society.
Yeah. I want to add on that because a lot of times we don't get a chance to see a male lead in a positive light. Mm-hmm. And so I know even for myself, I grew up in the projects, and a lot of people who I've seen around me at certain nights were men who may have been selling drugs or was doing things, womanizing and things like that. But it was when I was in my 20s, when I got into one of the ministries that I was connected to, I started seeing other men being a father, being a husband, and showing me how to lead their homes. And so that was some things that I didn't see early on. And so that's the thing you're speaking of. So is us as men being an example through our walk, that how we spend time with these young men, to be in their corners, to cheer them on, but also to lead them and be an example and being exposed to what a man really looks like. So
right.
That's awesome, man. And so I know we got some things coming up. I want you to kind of just talk on that before we move on. Next week, if I'm correct, they're going to have something for the men in co-ed. So I don't know if you want to add that, because that's one of the things you're part of, right?
Yeah, AFC, NFC, it's like an AFC, NFC football party that we do at the church. Every year it's usually only men, but this year Pastor decided to go co-ed.
Okay.
The women been talking about that. They can't get in on the card games and stuff like that. They like football too, and so this year we decided to do co-ed. Men and women watching the AFC NFC football game at the church, and I think it starts around. The game starts at 3. But the festivities start around 2 or 2:30 because we're doing a chili cook-off. Can you cook chili?
I do a little something in the kitchen.
All right, man. I need you to resident get in there.
That's what's
Pastor Maurice say he gonna take it. He say he already won.
That's what he say.
So we got that going on. Then February the 15th, we're gonna have the first men's rap session of this year of 2024. At the church again at 7 o'clock, and we'll be doing it every third Thursday, once a month. At 7 o'clock, and we usually hang out. It's really scheduled from 7 to 8:15, but the guys have such a good time where we usually end up staying at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Okay. But it's a good time. It's a very good time, and you get to hear other men's perspective on what they're doing in the household. And I swear I'm the secrecy. Okay. So you know this. May God cut your tongue out. Yeah. If you go home and tell your spouse what we talking. But we're not in that direction this year. And that's just a joke. Just to let y'all know. But we're not in that direction this year. So we're not trying to hold anything back and just talk amongst us secretly. Our motivation this year is to guide these young men onto the right path, onto a kingdom path. So we're going to be talking about these things with our wives and the females in our lives, because if they have young men, we want them to be involved in these programs, get them into the Boys Connect group, get them into the men's ministry, into these events we're going to have coming up, so that we can help guide them on the right path.
Awesome. And so if someone wanted to connect or come out to what you have going on, how can they find out more about it, know where to come to and all that?
Okay, so the far as the things going on in the Well Church, we have a line where you can text on the Well Church, and that phone number is 803-592-2219, and just text men to that group, and you can become a part of the Men's Connect group.
Okay, and if they wanted to come to the football game, on up next Sunday, is that open up to everybody, or is that open to...
Yeah, that's open to everybody. Now, if you want to be in the cook-off, you have to register, so you text that, you would text that number, you would text Chili to that number if you want to be in the Chili cook-off. But if you just want to come hang out with us and watch the football game, and we'll have snacks and soda and water and beverages and things like that. We're not going to have any alcohol, of course. But you can come out and fellowship with us and watch the football games. Have a very good time.
No doubt. Just to let you know, it's going to be at the Well Church. So the address is 135 South Oakland Avenue here in Rock Hill. And so you're welcome to come out, bring some others with you, and just have a good time in a good atmosphere. Again, like I say, it's not going to be stuffy. We at church, but we're going to be playing some spades. We're going to be playing games. We're going to have a good time. And so we welcome you to come out and just come around and have a good time with us, okay? So we welcome you to be there.
And nobody can beat us in spades.
Oh, yeah.
Me and this dude right here. Can't nobody beat us, so don't even try.
No doubt. No doubt. So, hey, come ready. But on another note, I know that's some of the things you're doing there at the church. And so that's something that even connects the dots to what you're doing in the community, to where with the fellas. And I had an opportunity to interview Juan, who's the president of the fellas,
right.
A good friend also. And I love what you guys are doing, because each one of you guys are very successful in the line of work you're in. And so it works seamlessly on how y'all serve and work in the community. They've done some great work across the board. So if you can, let's talk about a little bit about the fellas, of what some of the things that they're doing, or you guys are doing, and how others who would like to be involved. Because from my understanding, not only are y'all doing something in those groups, they're actually putting together something that's bigger for the community at large. But how does that look?
Yeah. So the fellas organization, like I said, we started a few years back. A couple of the brothers got together and reignited the fellas. We had some get-togethers and things like that. So we do a scholarship program every year where we give out so much money, or I think it's 3 scholarships now. So much money for books, so much money towards tuition, and then a second book scholarship.
Okay.
And this year we actually, I've been talking with Juan and Stacey Anderson, who is our vice president, about a scholarship for CDL drivers. So it costs about $4,500 if you can't get through one of the grant programs. And we do have 4 grant programs going on. If you're all coming out of high school, especially in North Carolina, well, North Carolina and South Carolina. South Carolina program is called South Carolina Works Youth. And the North Carolina program, North Carolina Works Next Gen program. Between the ages of 18 and 24, those programs will pay for you to go to school with us. Other than that, though, the fellows and CL Driving School are going to get together, and we're going to sponsor at least a $1,000 scholarship for people who want to go to CDL school.
That's amazing. And so that ties into, if they want to do that, to give an understanding of what's the benefits, because a lot of them, do you have to have diploma, or what's some of the qualifications, and this, if someone got a record, how does that affect them? Just kind of give them an understanding how that looks.
Now, if you're talking about going through the regular fellow scholarship program,
Just in general, let's say it's in general.
So if you're going through the fellows program,
Mm-hmm.
you would go to our website,
Okay.
And it's thefellows.com, and you go to our website, and all those parameters for the scholarship and how you can register for scholarship is on that website.
Awesome.
Now, as far as the CL driving school, CDL school, you can actually contact me. My work number or office number is 980-899-2397. And we really don't have much of a criteria for our program. You have to be 18 years of age, obviously, because you won't be able to drive a truck. Now, if you do go to CDL school, get your CDL Class A, and you're 18 years old, 18 to 20, you're going to have to drive interstate. Can't drive out of state or wherever your license is. But there are a lot of good local jobs that a lot of people don't realize, because, you know, the old adage is once you get your CDL, you have to go over the road. That's not necessarily true. So there are a lot of great local jobs that we have and we can help them get into.
That's one of the things I want to share, because I've heard, now this is only because I've heard that it's sometimes tough for a new driver to get employment. Is that so, or there's this a myth, or you guys ways to get past that?
Well, CL Driving School is one of the only 5-star rated schools in the Carolinas, definitely in the Charlotte area. So we have over 100 different companies that hire our students straight out of school.
Wow.
And not only that, we have major trucking companies like Snyder, Warner, TMC, RE West, Stevenson, Thompson Trucking Company in Charlotte, North Carolina. All those companies send their recruiters into our building and ask for 15 minutes to sit down with our students. They tell them how great their organization is and try to get them to sign up with their company before they even graduate.
That's amazing.
So we have great job placement for our students because of that. I think because of that 5-star rating. And right now, the office that I work out of, the Charlotte office, we have an office in Indian Trail, North Carolina, and one in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Charlotte, North Carolina office is at a 100% pass rate.
Wow.
Now, let me clarify that.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they went straight through the program. Everybody passed all the tests at once. It's 3 different parts of the CDL exam. But everybody that has sit down with me, that has enrolled in the class and completed the course and tested, they might have failed part of the test and had to retest. But every one of those people has went through our program and received their CDL.
Wow, that's amazing. And that speaks to the volume that you definitely take the time to make sure people have success. And so, so now that you said you have 2 locations, so can you let people know how they can get connected to those?
Yeah. So if you want to, we are also on the internet, cldrivingschool.com, and then we have 2 phone numbers. The phone number for the main office, which is in Indian Trail, North Carolina, is 704-821-1111. And then the Charlotte, North Carolina office, which is the office down in, is 980-899-2397.
Well, that's awesome, man. Like I said, I know y'all have that going on, but also, like I said, we've been a part of certain ministries together, the couples ministry, and we still, like I said, that was back about 2-something years ago. We was part of
Longer than that.
Okay, but we still been connecting. That's been
Yeah.
beautiful, because I don't know anybody who's married, but if you are married, of course, we know marriage is not a birthday. It's not something that you take lightly. Now, I encourage anybody who gets married, you want to get sound counseling, and we went to a course together where we created a great bond with those who was in that class together. And well after the class, we still come together as couples, and we go out and we have fellowships, and we do different things where we just kind of connect and make sure we're encouraging ourselves in our marriages. So going through that course, and what's something that, first of all, what did you get that still resonate with you going through that marriage course?
The marriage course gave us the tools of how, when hard times hit, what do we need to focus on? Because in that class, it basically, when you're arguing with somebody, when you're arguing with your wife, you always think you're right. But the class made you look at yourself. What am I doing wrong?
Okay.
And so sometimes now, if I get in an argument, we get in arguments, we got a great relationship, but we get in arguments, me and Alice. Sometimes I can let my temper get away from me, but at other times I remember those tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? How did I come across wrong? You know, how can I make this work? But the old adage is happy wife, happy life. So she wins most of the arguments.
That's what I'm saying. And I said, because one of my takeaways from the class was making deposits.
Yeah, I love
Any relationship that does not have deposits will eventually bankrupt. And so, let's say if one party is making all deposits, the other one's withdrawing, it will eventually fail. And I want to kind of lead this way because we both have something in common because we both have been previously married, right?
Right.
And we can say, and I know, especially being a God-fearing man, you never want to fail at anything. And a marriage is different than any other type of relationship because it's not that you lose somebody that just like it goes away. It's almost like losing an arm, right?
Right.
It's so much more that you was attached to. So once you have gone through that spot and you lose something that much part of you, it kind of affects you. But knowing that you was a God-fearing man, you saved at the time and you was still serving, that's something that even me, I was serving in the church, I was going through doing a lot of great things, but you were losing something over here. And so you know that eventually got bankrupt, right?
Right.
And so how did you stay fired up? How did you move past that season? And if part of you, sometimes, I don't know what in your mind sometimes be playing tricks on you, tell you that who are you trying to preach and minister to others when you fell in this part of your life, but you can still hold your head up and get past that season. How did you move past that season to help you to now prepare yourself and learn to be a better husband in this season?
Well, first of all, the former marriage, I have to say, was a mistake.
Okay.
You know, some people are in your life for a season, and not saying anything bad about the other person, but it just wasn't our season. So, but you get used to being around a person, so it is difficult once that breaks apart or falls apart or whatever, but it wasn't meant to be. So this time, before I went into the marriage, I actually, prayed about it. And that's what helped me get through it. My fear in God, or my love for God, to say, he got somebody out there. He has somebody out there for you. But you have to wait to the opportune moment until he tells you that's the right person. You can't just jump into a marriage and not pray on it and not think about it and not realize this is a person God sent for you. All right? So, and that also helps you stay with the person no matter how hard it gets or no matter how seemingly it may not work out. In those bad times, God will guide you through, especially if that's the person that he gave to you and that's the person you're meant to be with. That's what's going to happen. So the way I got through it is basically I put my head in the Word. Now, that being said, too, you also got to have some type of work-life balance. Mm-hmm. In my former marriage, I did not have a work-life balance. Okay. So I was working at a different place at the time. I was more in the manufacturing industry, and I used to work 14, 15 hours a day. Leave the plant, come home, work some more, go to sleep, wake up, do it again next day. Then on the weekend, I'm in the church all day, every Saturday and Sunday, doing something, some kind of program. I wasn't going to the well then. I was in a different denomination, but I was always doing something in the church, and I was working all the time. And then, you don't have a work-life balance, you can overload yourself. And then you become cranky and all these different things. Not saying that's what caused the problem. I truly believe that we just weren't meant to be together. But a work-life balance probably could have helped the situation a little more.
Awesome. Well, one of the things that I had to do in my season of separation after my divorce, I put Proverbs 31. I posted that up throughout the house, like 5 different places. And at the bottom, I put, in order to have my Proverbs 31 queen, I had to first become a Proverbs 31 king. And so that what I want, I had to become it. And so that was something my affirmation was to make sure that I am what I want to attract.
Right.
And so that's something I think God has blessed me with. Not saying it's smooth and easy. Marriage is definitely that.
It's work.
Yeah, but it's definitely something that can be beneficial if you wait and allow God to direct you where He calls you to. And so I would encourage anybody, make sure that you, if you thinking about getting married, seek good counsel. Seek good counsel and don't rush into it, but make sure that God is directing. He's a part of that equation because marriage was made by God. It wasn't just because, anybody else, but God has created marriage, and it's a good thing, but not saying you have to get married in order to have a successful life. But I encourage anybody who wants to do that, hey, take heed. Seek other people who've been in marriage and learn from them. And this don't mean because you've been married 50 years that they're the right one to counsel you either.
It might not be, right?
Yeah.
And also keep God in your marriage.
Yeah.
It was a movie where I heard this first, but then, after we went through the counseling and things like that, if you got one chord, it's pretty easy to pop. It's a lot harder to pop 2 chords.
Yeah.
But when you got 3 chords, it's almost impossible.
Yes.
So God is that third chord that needs to be in your marriage. And when you start, I remember this from the prayer team too. I'm also on the prayer team.
Okay.
But I remember this from the prayer team. It is very difficult for say, how you have somebody when you're coming up and you say, I just don't like that person. So if I say, I don't like Steve, I just don't like him. For whatever reason, jealousy or whatever reason it may be, I just don't like Stephen. But then Stephen comes up to me at the church one day and asks me to pray for him. And then I'm going to pray for abundance in your life and success and all these good things happen to you. I can't dislike you anymore because I just prayed to God for your success. And once I did that, I'm vested in you being successful because it was my prayer to God. It's not my prayer that's going to turn things around for you, but it's God turned things around for you because I asked him to. So now I have a vested interest in Stephen, so I can't hate or be jealous. Only thing I can do is be happy that you're successful because that's what I prayed for.
Kind of tapping on something that what Pastor was preaching on today about covenant.
Yeah.
Covenant relationship. So once you made a vow or made something, a proclamation, you spoke that into from your heart of that's something that you are tied to, like a covenant, a relationship, a marriage, or anything. Now you have to honor that. So you can't just say hopeless words, but you got to make sure that what you're speaking is something that you want to stand on. So when you praying over somebody, that what you speak and you stand on that, you want that best for that individual, and you're going to do your part to even help that individual. So sometimes you might not like I was in a class recently, it was talking about you are not what you do. So you may be someone who's falling short, you may be a drug dealer, you may be doing those activities, but that's not who you are. So we may not like the sin or like the activity, but we can always love the person. So that's the thing. You got to look beyond what you see and speak into that person of who they should be, right?
Right.
But with that, man, it's such good, man. We had this opportunity to sit down and talk about some of the things that you're doing, because what we want to walk away with is to empower others, primarily men, to realize that, hey, God has something great for you. Even though it may not look like that right now. It may be in a time in your life where you may say, man, things are going bad for you. But it doesn't always have to be that way. So you can attest. You probably have some tough times. No matter how much money you make, sometimes the days you make more money, more problems, right? It's other things that come at you. So we cannot allow those things that come at us to hinder us and stop us from being successful in other areas of our life. So if you can, I want you to speak to the men out there, encourage them, give them a word to keep them pushing forward beyond what they see.
Well, I think it's another class that we took, me and you together at the Well. Mm-hmm. It's called Kingdom Men.
Yeah.
And I hope we do that class again this year. And it's what it's like to be a kingdom man. So some of the things we talked about in that class were like, your wife is not following you, or, there's always controversy in the household and things like that. Well, if you align yourself with God, then that family has no choice but to align yourself with themselves with you. So the more you align yourself with God, no matter how bad it looks, no matter how many times the arguments happen, no matter how many storms come your way, no matter how many times the furnace goes out, the car breaks down, you just keep aligning yourself with Jesus Christ, who is your covering. He's going to guide you through it, and then just watch how everything else falls into place. So I believe everything goes back to a spiritual belief and your belief in Jesus Christ. I just believe that. And going through that class really opened my mind up even more to that. So if I can align myself in the way this world is going today, if I can align myself with Jesus, and my family aligns themselves behind me because I'm aligned with Jesus, that's one family in one neighborhood. Then somebody else's family is going to see my family align, and they're going to align their family. Now you're building a neighborhood. Once you build a neighborhood or a community, that community will build that city. That city will build that state. That state will build our country. So one person at a time, aligning themselves with Jesus, will bring you on through. So men, we have a big responsibility, because since we are the head, we have to be the first to go align ourselves with Jesus. And we got off pace with the first man, Adam. He was the one that heard the word from God. He was the one who was supposed to protect that household. With that, he didn't do it, and we've been going the other way ever since. So now it's time for our men to step up, align themselves with Jesus Christ, and follow that path, and everything else will fall into place.
Awesome. Well, we thank you, man. Thank you so much for this, taking the time just to share what you're doing, share your life with others, and also that others can be empowered, inspired to reach their fullest potential. Because life is never going to be easy, but it can be purposeful. It can prepare you to be great. And so I want to thank you for y'all for joining in, and thank you for also. But if you can, share with others, if they can get in touch with you, what's another way, how would you prefer them to reach out to?
You can reach out if you're looking to reach out for me at CL Driving School. My email is rm.cldrivingschool@gmail.com. Or you can reach me at 980-899-2397. That phone number, when I'm not in the office, it actually goes to my cell phone. So you can reach me at that number anytime you want to talk to me about something in the ministry or something at the school, wherever you need to reach me for.
Man, that's awesome, man. And so, like I said, thank you again, man, for all you do. You have really touched so many lives, and we want to continue supporting that. And so we encourage y'all to, if you want to, reach out to my guy Roscoe, because he's really sincere about making sure that you are the best version of yourself. So with that said, please like, please share, and please be great.